All right. Welcome to Real Issues Podcast. I am your host, Martel Llewellyn. And today we have a special guest of mine, and her name is Erica. Hello. And how are you doing today, Erica?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So the reason why I wanted to bring you on, because some people may know that you are a hairstylist slash barber, correct?
Yes, I am.
So before we get into all of that, why don't you just tell the people who you are and we'll jump right in.
Alrighty. My name is Erica Menoscal. I was born and raised in Broward County, Florida. I went to Western High School for high school, and yeah, I'm a barber and a stylist. I would consider myself more of a barber. I gear myself more towards the men's side. But yeah, I love it.
All right, and then before we get into that, do females like when they say female barbers or girl barbers, or do women prefer just to be labeled as barbers?
Um, I would say like prefer just a barber. I am just a barber. I don't really think that depending on my sex, like you don't say, oh,
Yeah.
male barbers, like, so why are you calling me like a female barber? I'm just a barber.
Mhm.
I don't really take offense to it though. I try not to, unless it's said to me in a derogatory term, then, you know,
Okay.
I'll figure it out from there.
Well, today on this show, we're gonna try and see why people might call female barbers, because you're right. Like when you go to a barber shop, no one's like, all right, well, I want a male barber.
Oh
So
yeah.
why did you want to become a barber to start with?
Well, I was in a salon when I first got my cosmetology license. That's what the license I had gotten first. So I had gotten that, and I was in a salon where I had to know how to cut men's hair. And in cosmetology school, they don't really focus on men's cuts. They give you like just the basic runaround. So like when I went into the salon, I had zero clue how to even hold a clipper. So when I was a receptionist studying for my state board exam, I would just watch people constantly, how they would cut men's hair, how they would line it. Um, so when I finally got my license and I got into the chair, I think it was my first or second client was a man, because I would say 45% of the walk-ins that walked into the salon that I was at. And I was so scared. I cut his hair for like maybe 5 minutes, and I called my boss over, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But after that, I kind of taught myself YouTube, Instagram, and yeah, that's how I went back to barbering school in 2018. And from there, it was history. Yeah, that's like when I made my switch over to barbering, was like during the pandemic, like May of the pandemic.
Okay, and then who are some people that you model your work after?
I don't think I necessarily model my work after any specific barber. Like I said, I do watch a lot of YouTube videos, Instagram, that maybe like if I watch their videos, some of their technique might benefit me and my technique, whether it be maybe the outcome is better, maybe it's quicker, more sufficient. So yeah, I don't think I really model my work after anybody. I think every barber has like their own way of cutting, their own style of cutting. And I also have my boyfriend who is also a barber. He's been in the industry for like almost 20 years. So he's been helping me a lot on like the do's and don'ts, and like so I don't make the same mistakes that he did.
And
He's
then for
been
the
very helpful.
people who are trying to come up, they're brand new to barbering, what's some advice that you can give to them to building clients? Because some people don't know that you moved from Florida to North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So how can somebody basically build up their clientele from the ground up? What's some tips?
Um, well, for me now, starting over for the third time in this industry, I know a lot of people wouldn't want to hear this, but social media really is your best friend. If you want to market yourself, um, you know, show the content that you've created so other people see you and they recognize you. And then, word of mouth is quick, and videos and pictures help display a lot of that. So I just think that, you have the old fashioned ways of, handing the cards out, which that does work. But in this day and age in 2022, like social media really is, I think, the best way to go.
So yeah, so that's like your proof, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, most men obviously might not have this issue, but since you are a woman, how do you deal with clients that might hit on you? Because obviously, men are not going to go to the, like to the barbershop to hit on like other men, but
Oh yeah.
how do women deal with that?
Uh, I mean, I've had my instances where, somebody hits on me, but I don't really take offense to it unless somebody crosses over a certain line.
Mhm.
Like if you call me beautiful or you call me pretty, like that doesn't bother me at all. I just say thank you because what else can you say to that? The crossing the line is touching me. Don't touch me. And just be respectful. Don't be nasty. Yeah, me personally, I've never had somebody say something to me where I was like taken back by it and really had to think about it. Like I just have like the normal, oh, you're beautiful. And I was like, okay, thank you. Move on. That's it.
And then what are some tips for maybe some other women who maybe their coworkers or their clients like are doing the same thing? So what are some tips for them?
In the sense of,
If they're getting hit on by like their coworkers or their clients for like
yeah,
other women.
again, I would say I think it would be the level of whether it be disrespect or them hitting on you, then that would decipher whether you should take action or not. If it's just a little compliment that was just trying to like, let them know, then I don't really think that would need to have any action taken against it unless it was like something very drastic and like degrading and
Mhm.
like stepping over a personal boundary to that individual.
Okay. And then what are some tips for some female barbers who are continuing to cut hair? Maybe they're just fresh to the game. What's some advice that you can give to them?
Patience is a virtue. It's a learning process. Everybody has to start somewhere. I think being a woman in this industry, when a man comes to sit in your chair and right off the bat, before even knowing you or know how you can cut, they just judge you because you're a woman. And I would say don't get discouraged by that, because I used to get discouraged by that, but it's like there's a certain satisfaction now once you get past that. There's a certain satisfaction when a man sits in your chair and judges you just because you're based off because you're a woman. And at the end, when you turn them, they're like, damn, like she really can cut. Like, can't judge a book by its cover.
Mhm. Now, why do you think that men think that women can't cut hair? Because, like you said, like from the very beginning, it's like it's really just a sex thing. So just because you're a woman, that doesn't really mean that you can't cut hair. So why do you think men, just automatically assume that, oh, you know what, she's gonna fuck me up, as some people might say,
I think it's because when the industry was first introduced way back then, it was predominantly a man's industry, a male's industry, but we're in 2022. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You have men doing women's jobs, you have women doing men's jobs. Like, it has nothing to do with sexuality anymore. Whether you're a man or a woman, like, you can do anything.
Absolutely. Now, what are some myths about female barbers?
That we don't know how to cut just because we're just because we're women. Myths. I don't really think there is any like other myths other than that, because you just look at a woman and be like, oh, I don't want her, she can't cut. And that's not always the case, because there is some men that can't cut either.
Yeah, there's a lot of men that cannot cut hair.
Exactly. Would you sit in a barber's chair, a man barber's chair, and be like, yo, are you gonna F me up? Like, no. You would never ask that to a man. So why would you ask that to a woman?
Absolutely. All right. And then what are some good tools? Let's say that someone just gets out of the barber school. What are the essential tools that they need to be successful? Because I know there's some people that maybe they can't afford the $200 clippers or whatever the case may be. So what's some equipment that they essentially need?
Well, when I was first starting out as a barber, my first pair of clippers were the Wall Designers. They were $50. My first trimmer was a Peanut, and I think those are like $25, $30. That was basically it. You really start from the bottom here, but until you work yourself up and you build that confidence and enough money to buy those $250 clippers, it's all a process working up to them. So for like some tips for like new barbers, I would just say, patience is key. A good mindset, responsibility, because since, most barbers are independent contractors, like we have to manage our own time, our own money, and it's very easy to fall off track. I've fallen off the track. I'm not afraid to say that. But it's, you have to come to like self-realization. Like if this is what you want and you want to make a living out of it, you're going to have to take steps in order to get there and to be successful.
And that brings me into my next question. Can you make a good living being a barber? Because some people just look on social media. There's the celebrity barbers. There's like the regular barbers. Some people don't have that many clients. So from people who don't know about barbering, can you make a good living?
You can make a very good living. There's many barbers who are making well over 6 figures in this industry. And, those are the celebrity barbers. But like I said before, like those barbers have taken those steps in order to get there. And they've taken those steps in order to charge what they charge. Mm-hmm. So you can make a decent living out of anything as long as you have the responsibility and, the work ethic. It's still something that you have to build up to. And I'm still learning every day on how to manage my money better, even my cutting skills. Like I feel like this industry is a never ending learning, because it's like there's new trends that come out, there's new barbers that come out, new techniques, like it's crazy, new clippers. It's just like, it's like being a little kid sometimes.
Now, since you guys have so many things to pay for, and I feel like most people don't understand that, because there's so many people that say, why do barbers charge so much? Because, before, like it maybe used to be $12 for a haircut, $20. Now people are charging maybe like $150 for a haircut. So explain to the people that don't really know, why do barbers charge so much for haircuts?
I think a lot of the times when barbers move up in price range, it's because they're looking for a specific audience to recognize their time and their passion and the efforts that they put into these cuts and the content that they create on Instagram. So they want a specific clientele that will recognize that and acknowledge that, instead of somebody coming into the barbershop saying, oh, my price moved up from 30 to 40, and then be like, oh, like I don't want to pay that much. Like, okay, then you don't really see my value. And that's fine, that happens. But it's, when a barber does that, it's because they're looking for a specific audience to reach. And that's why some barbers are charging what they charge. Okay.
Now, would you ever own your own shop?
I don't think I would own a shop like full of other barbers, but I do see myself owning a nice suite, because a lot of the times, especially now that we're in a pandemic and it being so crazy out here, I think a lot of people want to be one-on-one. Like, yeah, the barber shop is like a great atmosphere, but a lot of people enjoy that one-on-one, or like there's just that safety. And even for myself, I would like that suite for myself.
Now, for the people who are starting to cut hair and they're in their garage and they're actually doing a pretty good job, do you recommend them maybe just staying maybe in their garage at home, or do you recommend them going to barber school, going through the process, and then maybe going into a shop?
I mean, I think a lot of barbers start out in their barber shop. I know my boyfriend did, and I've heard many of other barbers say that they had started off in their garage. That's not my case, but I would say if you want to make barbering a career and you're cutting out of your garage, I think the smartest thing to do would be get a license and do everything properly. That way, if DBPR rolls up on you, they're not going to slap you with a fine and reject your license. Or even before you get the license, like you're not allowed to get one now because you're cutting hair illegally. Like there's a very...
Who's DPR? For people who don't know.
Those are like the people who come and check if everything's in order, see if you have your licenses in order, the proper sanitation, the proper disposal of your blades, like anything like to critique. It's just a safety thing, just like a lot of businesses have. But yeah, they're the ones who really call the shots, and whether you can run a barbershop or still be a barber. Like, they don't come in often, maybe once every couple of years or maybe once a year. But it's, yeah, barbering, there's very specific laws with barbering, and then if you want to work from home, there's other specific laws that you have to follow in order to run a business through your own home.
And then for the person who maybe they're struggling right now, they don't really have the clients that they would like, what's some advice that you can give them to keep them pushing?
Okay, yeah. Well, for me, this is my third time starting over. So I'm building my clientele. So I would just say, when you cut people for the first time, even though it might not be the best cut you give, because, you know, maybe it's the first time you cut their hair, so you don't know it as well, but try and give it your best. And at the end of the service, if you have cards, give them a card, give them your number, give them your social media. You know, try and engage with the client when they're in your chair. Make them feel comfortable. That's what a lot of people like. A lot of people will come back just because they feel very comfortable with you. It also depends on the cut as well. You can't be giving bad cuts and expect people to come back. But yeah, just try and, again, be patient. You know, it's a learning process. Everybody starts from somewhere, you know.
But the thing is, though, we don't give barbers like enough credit, because think about it. If a random person just comes into your shop, you've never seen them before, they have some weird hair texture, their hair maybe nappy, or they don't take care of it, and then they're looking at you just to go like this and fix it. Mm-hmm. Which some people can't, and then maybe after maybe the second or the third haircut, they could probably figure it out. But I feel like we don't give barbers enough credit, or maybe like enough leeway for them to figure out someone's hair before we just clip them off and say, you know what, this barber doesn't know how to cut hair.
Yeah, because like you said, like, some people have wild textured hair. Like, some people's on this side will be going this way straight, and then the other side is going back and down. And then you have to try and match like the fade on each side, which is very difficult. So yeah, I would say maybe if you go into another barber chair for the first time, give them a little bit of leeway, like you said, because, you know, we're not magicians. Like, yeah, we cut hair, and, you know, we cut hair good, but everybody's different. Everybody has a different style, a texture, hair pattern. You know, it's just, you have to take all those in consideration. And facial shape is another big thing they have to take in consideration while cutting somebody's hair.
Yeah, and see, like, those are the things that people really don't look into it. We just sit in the chair, relax, lay back, and think, oh, you know, they're gonna boom, and it's done. But there's just so many elements that, you know, that actually go into it. And then for your social media, where can people find you? I mean, yes, like, you're not in Florida anymore, but I'm sure that this video is going to reach a lot of people. So for people who don't really know where you're at, you know, maybe you can tell them your shop if you're comfortable, or you can tell them your social media so that they can look into your work.
Yeah, well, the shop I'm at, it's in Concord, North Carolina. It's called Buzzworthy Barbershop. My Instagram is _she2 faded, and then another underscore. And then I believe my TikTok is the same. I don't really have Snapchat anymore. And Twitter, that's just, you know, to go browse. I don't really do anything on Twitter like that. I would say Instagram and TikTok would be the place to find me. And I believe the TikTok and Instagram have the same name.
Got you. And then before we wrap this up, what is your short-term goals and what are your long-term goals for 2022?
Short-term goals right now is rebuilding, since I'm moving to a different state, building clientele, building my social media, you know, getting to know how to work social media better and more efficient and quicker.
Now, in what way? So what are some tips that you can give for people who maybe their social media they don't have the numbers that they want, or maybe they don't have the content that they want? What are some tips that you have used? Now, what are some tips that you can give to them so that they can try and build up their social media?
Yeah, I don't even have those myself. Like, I'm literally learning from scratch right now because of something that my boyfriend's doing. He's teaching me Reels is an amazing way to get known, because little short videos blow up so quickly. You need to have something that catches a viewer's eye. It can't just be like, you know, a step-by-step. It has to be like satisfying almost, you know, seeing the hair melt off the head, or that razor passing through, or that crispy lineup, you know, it's a lot about catching angles and the actions that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say that would be my short-term goals. Long-term goals, everybody wants that nice house, that nice car,
Mm-hmm.
the traveling, just seeing myself grow,
Absolutely.
getting into a suite instead of a barber shop, and just honestly seeing the life I really want to see for myself. Like I want to make that happen, and I will.
Absolutely. And what are the pros and cons for a suite and a barbershop? I know that
Um,
you referenced to COVID, so then like now, like you don't have to necessarily take a big hit with paying rent to like this huge building or whatever the case may be. But what's the pros and cons for a suite versus a shop?
I'd say a suite is a little bit more responsibility. Like you have to clean it yourself, you have to restock everything if you need it by yourself. Um, I mean, there's no other people in the shop, so like if there's nobody else there, like there's nobody to talk to. Pros would be you're in a more quieter, safer, more sterile environment. One-on-one, you might get to know your client better, get more conversation, that because barbers are also therapists. Everybody knows that. I
Mm,
know everybody's life story. So maybe getting that one-on-one with the barber, making these relationships with your clients to where they'll come back period more and more and more. And then even if you do go up in price or move somewhere else, like they're going to follow you because there are people who will follow you like that. For
all right.
sure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're
Now, once
welcome.
again, just shout out your social media so that they can find you one more time.
Alrighty, I am _she2 faded _ on my Instagram and my TikTok.
And like she said, just because you're a girl, that does not mean that you can't cut hair. We have to be able to give people a chance. We all want to grow. We all want to be successful. So once again, thank you for coming on to the Real
Welcome.
Issues podcast, and I appreciate it so much. Please stay safe. Thank you. Like, share, comment,
Alright.
subscribe.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.